Hello, and welcome to Snax. Today's presentation is titled Statistical Process Control versus Statistical Quality Control. It is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Ms. Helen Strickland. Helen Strickland is a senior statistical consultant in GSK's Manufacturing Science and Technology organization. With more than 30 years of experience in CMC statistics, Ms. Strickland provides guidance on the application of statistical methods pertaining to the chemistry, manufacturing, and controls for respiratory and HIV products. Helen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stacy. So today's Stats Snax video provides a brief overview of how statistical process control differs from statistical quality control. The learning objectives are understanding how SPC and SQC are similar yet different, and also being able to explain the differences between SPC and SQC in relation to process-based and product-based inferences. SPC and SQC similarities are utilization of similar statistical methodologies, such as statistical sampling, statistical control charting, distribution and probability theory, analysis of covariance, and statistical interval estimations. And again, this list is not exhaustive. It's just to give you an example of some of the similar statistical techniques. SPC and SQC differences. If we look at the definition of SPC, look at the definition of how ISO defines it, it's the application of statistical techniques and/or statistical or stochastic control algorithms to analyze process inputs and process parameters, that is, independent variables. SQC is the application of statistical tools, primarily control charting and acceptance sampling methodologies, to analyze the quality characteristics of the process outputs, those dependent variables, our finished product specifications. SPC objectives, it controls the activity, control activities focus on the use of statistical techniques in order to achieve at least one of the following objectives: increase knowledge about a process, steer a process to behave in the desired way, and 3, characterize variation of the final product parameters to guide improvements in the process performance, and that is reduce variation. The types of data that are used for SPC techniques are leading quality indicator, independent variables data, such as your critical material attributes and your critical process parameters. So your critical material attributes, as you can see, are examples: excipient properties, impurity levels, moisture content, protein content, and device properties. The critical process parameters would be, as examples, speed, force, flow volume, temperature, reaction time, and drying time. Statistical process control also involves statistical process management aspects, and a statistical process control technique focuses on controlling the variation of a process characteristic. It controls the variation of in-process product characteristics that are correlated with final product characteristics. Process improvement is focusing on the reduction of the process variation so that you can achieve an increase in effectiveness such that planned activities are realized and the planned results are achieved. All right. SPC in respect to process-based inferences. What that means is it implies that statistical process control of leading indicators is utilized and appropriate technical linkages between process inputs, your critical process parameters, and product characteristics, your CQAs, and lagging indicators have been identified through prior knowledge, scientific first principles, or design of experiments. In contrast with your SQC, it's your product-based inferences. And again, that's your acceptance sampling and control charting of your lagging measurements, your critical quality attributes. So acceptance sampling is a quality verification methodology that works on the premise of detecting and not prevention. Acceptance sampling alone is a very inefficient method for demonstrating conformance to specification. Lagging measurements are made on the process output and are typically measurements of the inherent characteristics of the product. Inherent characteristics are related to product requirements, your quality characteristics. When you use control charting of those lagging measurements, those quality characteristics, along with the acceptance sampling, you are more efficient than just using the acceptance sampling alone. But when you actually pair this with statistical process control of your leading indicators, that is really the most efficient way for demonstrating conformance to specification. I leave you with this graphical illustration of SPC and SQC, process-based inference versus product-based inference. SPC, when you're using control charting to analyze your process inputs and your process parameters, which in our terms is critical material attributes, critical process parameters, they're those leading indicators. It focuses on identifying process drift before product quality drift occurs. With product-based inference, the SQC, you're control charting the outputs, such as your critical quality attributes, which are your product quality characteristics, or your lagging indicators. Its focus is that it detects product quality drift after process drift. Sometimes ISO speaks of it or refers to it as after the product event. So you're controlling it after the event has occurred. So the takeaway today is to think about SPC and SQC from process-based and product-based inferences. And that SPC is really the one where you're controlling the process inputs and the process parameters so that you can achieve better quality control of your, or more efficient quality of your output product. So in the future, we will do some more Snax videos with more details of some of these individual statistical techniques. And thank you.